Hey guys, it's Penguin here, and welcome back to another gold making video. In this video, we're going to be discussing the last minute prep that you can do for 9.2. So we're going to be going over 5 different things that you might want to do depending on what exactly your plans are for 9.2. Now, I will be covering a few markets that you might want to be thinking of in this video. However, if you are looking for the top 5, non-legendary markets for 9.2 or anything like that, I have made a previous video to this. I believe it's about 2 weeks old. There will be a link in the description, but feel free to check that out if you're looking for certain items to sell in 9.2. But without further ado, we're going to get into the first point. Now, this point is going to be related towards crafting, and this is finishing all of your intermediate crafts. So what I mean by this is a lot of people are stockpiling materials for a possible increase of demand inside of 9.2, and because of that, probably, of course, depending on how much gold you have, you may have a few ore laying around, you might have lightless silk laying around, stuff like that. And if you are supposed to be using that for, if you bought a ton of lightless silk and you're going to use that for enchanted lightless silk, go ahead and spend the next few days crafting all of those intermediate crafts. So if you have a ton of green ore laying around, go ahead and craft your Shadowghast ingots, if you have enchanted silk that needs to be crafted, and even if you might have green ore or lithium, and your goal is to prospect it and sell the essences, go ahead and prospect how much you want to just have those essences ready to go. The reason I say this is a lot of time in a 9.2 during this new patch release, you are going to be doing that daily content for reputation in order to unlock all of the new recipes on time. So instead of, I have to go craft, enchanted lightless silk for 2 hours because I ran out of it, if you just do it now, you will be a lot more prepped for 9.2. Also, if you are somebody who is massively stockpiling, and let's say you have a guild bank full of lightless silk, if you condense that into enchanted lightless silk, you will have a lot more free space for either more materials or just, you can either take the advantage of already crafting legendaries, if that's something you're going to do, to just have it ready. So, just take all this extra time you have. If you're selling missives, go ahead and mill all of your herbs, craft them into inks. You can even craft them into missives themselves, craft your potions, all of that. Just get all of that AFK crafting out of the way so you're not wasting your time doing that when the patch releases. Moving on, we have prepping your eye level. Now, if you guys are like me, I went and I leveled up a few level 60s, and I got them into Korthia, got them, crafter's marks and the vestiges for legendaries, and I haven't touched them since in terms of current content or leveling or anything like that. So a lot of them, besides my main, has some pretty bad item levels just because, I didn't really care. I just went into Korthia, did what had to be done, and left them alone. So if you guys want to, we are receiving the BOA tokens for gear and all of that, and we will be receiving the new marks. However, you probably will not be able to buy them right away. So if you guys would want to, go ahead, buy yourself a set of eye level 200 gear, and of course, don't forget that one item level 230, which is the Crafter's Marks 3 or the current Crafter's Marks gear. And just get yourself a little bit higher item level so you're not struggling in the new zone. Now, of course, despite your item level, you should be able to complete what needs to be completed, but it might take you a little bit longer. So if you could just boost your item level up a little bit, that might help you in the long run. Of course, if you are a crafter, you can just craft yourself a set, and it'll probably be a lot cheaper than buying it off the auction house. But if you have the gold to spend, it might be something you want to look into. Now, if you guys don't want to spend the gold, that's completely fine. You can wait until patch for the new item level catch-up stuff. But whatever you want to do, just keep that in mind that that's a possibility. Moving on, you want to know the timeline of 9.2 and for whatever reasons you're looking forward to. For example, if you're a legendary crafter, you should know that the Vestiges rank 7s are being unlocked on chapter 5 of the campaign, which is released reset day of week 3. So if you are a legendary crafter, you will have 2 weeks of no rank 7s, and then you'll be able to unlock them. Let's say you are a armor crafter and you're ready for the Crafter's Marks 4 and the Crafter's Marks of the first ones. You should know that it will take you about 10 days in order to hit Honored, as long as you complete all of the necessary tasks every single day, like your weeklies, your dailies, rares, stuff like that. So you should know that it's going to take you about 10 days in order to unlock those recipes. So I will leave a Wowhead post in the description, which will kind of give you the chapter layout, also whenever like raid is going to be released, and mythic and all of that, because those can be big money-making events. So just kind of understanding, and of course you don't have to memorize it, screenshot it, write it down, something like that, just something to refer to so you know kind of that timeline and what you should be expecting. So even if you're not a gold maker or you're a gold maker but you do current content and you want the exalted augment rune, for example, you should know that exalted will take about 55 days. So just something like that, whatever your goals are, if you kind of know that estimate, then you should be a lot more prepared for the future. So once again, I will leave that Wowhead stuff in the description. And we can move on to number 4. And number 4 is just a few more items to look into. So this is kind of a continuation of that previous video that I mentioned. If you guys did not watch that part of the video, I mentioned a video that I did a few weeks ago about the top 5 non-legendary markets for 9.2. So if you guys are looking for market suggestions, I highly recommend checking out that video. But some continuation of that is Goblin Gliders. Now we are unlocking flying for 9.2 zones, pretty fast. It's not going to be as long as a wait as other things. However, people who want to instantly go out, there might be some unobtainable areas without flying, or you might need a Goblin Glider in order to get to those locations. If you are a Goblin Glider seller, you can probably agree that Goblin Gliders, even today that we have flying, of course, Korthia is probably the reason why they still sell, since we don't have flying in actual Korthia, but Goblin Gliders sell daily, and they sell for pretty good profit. Of course, it depends on your server. So if you guys are able to craft Goblin Gliders, or you want to get into that market, definitely don't forget about those, because there will be no flying at the very, very start. So, people might be looking into getting those in order to reach certain areas of the zone. So keep in mind about Goblin Gliders, they're also generally really, really cheap to make. The profit margin might not be insanely huge, but they're just a nice little cheap sell that you can add up and sell a lot of them, and the profit will be pretty good. Moving on, we have a more kind of broader topic, which is not very surprising, which is just enchants. I didn't mention enchants in the previous video, and so I wanted to mention it in this one, because if you think about it, everybody is going to be getting new item level gear, whether that's from the zone, whether that's from dungeons, mythics, raids, etc. And every single time somebody gets an upgrade and they want to min-max their setup, they will also need an enchant. So if you guys think about it, if you are enchant sellers, reset day when people open up their vaults, get their loot upgrades, enchants can go very, very fast and fly off the shelf. So think about that with a whole new patch release. A lot of gear is going to be upgraded and demand is going to go up a ton. So keep in mind about enchants, even if they're not profitable at the moment, maybe check in with them, a week or 2 weeks into patch or when a raid releases, to, see exactly how enchants are doing, because they might be doing a little bit better. So those are just kind of two markets I'm going to talk about. I talked about missives and potions and some leatherworking items previously. So if you guys, once again, might want to check out that video. Then lastly, we have, this is very, very last minute, but level up any characters that you want to use. So this is your time, this video is releasing on a Thursday, and Tuesday/Wednesday is reset day or patch release. So you have, 4 to 5 days of leveling. So if you are somebody, let's say, who does indeed want to get to legendaries, you need to have that level 60 up. Make sure you have the access to Korthia, and that will prep you for 9.2. Let's say you want to do the crafter's marks, then yes, once again, you need a level 60. Make sure you unlocked Korthia, and then you are good to go. So for example, I previously did not really mess with the crafter's marks on my other characters because I am lazy and I didn't want to do any reputation grinding. However, this time around, I make sure that they are all level 60. They are ready for legendaries and also ready for that reputation grind. So I'm being a lot better with that during this. Now, personally, in another type of area is inscription. And this is kind of an area that I am contemplating at the moment. And the reason for that is that my inscriptionist is currently level 54, so he has about 6 levels to go for max level, and the reason why I'm considering it is because of contracts and Vantis runes, which are generally very, very good for inscription. However, they do require current content. So the contracts themselves do require reputation, and then also the Vantis runes generally requires like a raid boss to be killed. However, that raid boss can be an LFR, so it's not that bad, but you still, need that level 60 who's actively doing content. So if you are somebody who wants to get into crafter's marks, wants to max out their inscriptionist, wants to do legendaries, etc., try to level up those characters in the meantime. Even as a beginner, if you are somebody who only has, let's say, 2 level 60s, so you only have 4 professions, maybe take this time and level up 2 more level 60s or a single level 60 to get yourself into some more professions. Being in all areas, like I talked about, enchants, potions, missives, leatherworking, gear, all of that, the more you are into those markets, the more you are going to be diverse and prepped for 9.2. So if you only have enchanting and alchemy, and enchanting turns negative, so you can't make profit, then you're super stuck by only selling potions. However, it won't hurt as bad if you lose enchants, if you're also selling potions, gear, missives, all of that. So even if you are somebody who's not going to be doing the ton of rep grinding, just level up, you can be level 48 and level up Shadowlands professions. So maybe take some time to do that before patch release if you would like to. But that is basically it for this list. Now, of course, not all of these things might pertain to you depending on the type of gold maker you are. However, hopefully this gets you thinking and you might be coming up with something that I did not even think about, and feel free to let me know in the comments. So once again, I will not see you guys until the patch release of 9.2 in terms of YouTube content. So I hope your patch goes well. I guess EU will have a day left before patch release, but I hope the patch release goes well for you. I hope you're excited for 9.2. And of course, feel free to join the Discord if you'd like to be a part of our community. But without further ado, have a good day.